morning, everyone, and welcome to our time together. This is Lori Lamantia, and I'm here with the wonderful Tricia Fiske.
Good morning, everybody.
So
Happy to be
today,
here.
yes, me too. It's fun. So today we're going to talk about what a simple but huge topic around you are already what you are seeking. And the understanding behind this, Tricia and I attended a workshop this weekend, which was it had a big Sanskrit name, but it was almost like, in layman's terms, it was you seeing you as you, this magnificent energy being. And that's what my takeaway was from it. And Trish will get to hers in a second. But so today we thought about really diving into this idea that we have to seek or try or get at to to make ourselves better, to be good enough, to be that which we are seeking. And that is such the wrong forest for what we were meant as these divine, amazing, glorious energies that came here to experience and to live, but not to doubt our value, our importance, and that abundant flow that is always coming as us through us. And so I almost put you are the abundance that you are seeking. And that's true, absolutely too. But for the purposes of our conversation, anything that you are seeking is already in your sphere of energy and it's already here. So that's how I would put it. Trish, how would you put what we're trying to say here?
All right. Well, the workshop that we went to was the gems of supreme practice, the teachings of the Yoga Taravali, and
With Rod
the
Stryker.
Tara with Rod Stryker. And the Taravali is a guide for anyone who practices or teaches yoga. It's 29 sutras that highlight the essential practices that lead to yoga's supreme goals. So the literal meaning of Taravali means a multitude of stars.
Mhm.
So the text points to only the brightest points of light in yoga and tantra techniques. So it was this idea of non-dual, understanding what, not understanding intellectually, but feeling what it is to be in a place of non-duality.
Which is that supreme place.
That we're right with that we're already there. It's not a thing we have to.
Seek,
It's not task oriented, right?
right?
Right, and we don't have to like deliver ourselves from original sin in order to be in that place of non-duality.
Right. And I think maybe you want to define a little bit duality because the idea of seeking is duality, right? The idea that you
Correct.
aren't, you
That I'm
aren't
not there yet. Right.
yes, there's a good and a bad, a right and a wrong, all these different choices, which is part of what makes Earth a fun game to play for souls. But it also makes us think that that's all we are and that we could be inadequate or not enough or, have to seek that which we aren't. And
Right.
so non-dual is, of course, what we're talking about, being in that place of knowing that we know that we know.
Correct. Duality excludes non-duality. It's opposites. There's opposites. Non-dual is inclusive of everything. And it goes back to that idea that we already are what we're seeking. We already have everything there.
And it's all
Um,
good. It's not judged. It's not judged,
no, no, no.
which is a non-dual idea, judgment,
That
assessment.
a dual idea,
Yes, it's a
judgment.
dual,
Right.
sorry about that. Yes.
Yeah.
It's the thing that puts us into that idea that there could be something missing.
Right. Or there's work to do in order to deserve it, which is a thing we talk about a lot, getting out of that belief that we have to prove ourselves or work to be worthy to be
Yes.
part of this non-dual experience, right?
And the thing that was so wonderful about the workshop was you got this teaching about the Trivali, and it was beautiful. And Rod did such a lovely job of trying to articulate it, or not trying, he did articulate it. But also through the yoga, you had the felt sense experience. And it's one of the reasons why I love the Tantra prosperity work, because you talk about prosperity and abundance, but then you experience that felt sense of being in it as it. And that was one
Mm-hmm.
of the lovely things about the practices, the yoga practices, and why I'm always such a proponent of putting ourselves in a yogic opportunity, because it really does not only make it an intellectual experience, but a full body, alivening reality experience.
Right. And to be clear, these practices, it begins with a physical practice, but the focus is not on the asana, it's on the breath and the pranayama specifically, so that after shavasana, we move into pranayama and then meditation. And we're already in that space or entering that space of
Or remembering that
this
space.
is
Yeah.
right, right. So it's the asana part of it is not a exercise, it's not stretching. And we had a discussion this weekend about how there's a difference between yoga as stretching, which is like the fast food version, and yoga like this, which is the intention of the asana is to open this space to dwell in
Mm,
meditation. And it's just, it's the grand feast, if you will, the whole banquet, which
right.
is what yoga is. It's what yoga is if you actually study it and don't just get caught in, I want to go stretch in a hot room for 20 minutes and then I've done my exercise and
Right.
I'm all done.
Yeah. And it's a fine place to start, but there's so much, such a bigger, richer
Mm-hmm.
benefit, let's say, or gift in the traditional yoga practice, where you are doing the breath work and you are doing the sitting and the quieting, so that you can experience yourself the in a non-seeking mode, in a knowing that you know that you and you feel it mode. And
Yes.
and the thing about that's cool about meditation, and it has lingering effects, because this morning I definitely felt in my heart. I felt, when I was watching whatever come up, not I didn't even go on the news feed, but it was, pops up, and I was like, oh, look at that. There was something going on. And I just didn't react the way I might have reacted. And I know that this is the reverberating result of tapping and touching that place that is everything and nothing and non-judgment and true. For me, it's true love. It's so generous in its perfection. And I'm saying that's me when I'm not in my
Mm-hmm.
head dueling with myself. I don't know how to spell duel like as in but having the internal fight. Um,
Yeah,
so
I want to share I have a little story I want to share too. So I I have a granddaughter who is 3 years old. Her name is Willow, and I babysit for her once a week, and she is currently in love with doorbells, like doorbell sounds. And of course, I went online and found a link that had 7 different doorbell sounds, and then I remembered the Paul McCartney and Wings song about somebody's knocking on the door, somebody's ringing the bell, and so we pulled up YouTube and put that on, and we just automatically both started dancing.
mm,
And it was a moment of total bliss.
mm.
Nothing more urgent than dancing to a song about a doorbell in
Right.
that moment. It was a perfect moment. That's a place of non dual. where
Right.
it's just perfect to be in the moment and enjoying something of no consequence.
Right.
It's just
Well,
the
what I also
best.
feel is you were enjoying you as you, and Willow was enjoying Willow as Willow, and you were enjoying each other as a together experience. And yeah, that's a perfect example of being in that place where you know that you know, and you're not worried, you're not stressing, you're just enjoying it, and you're so present that you're not even thinking about it.
No, it's a total state of bliss,
Yeah,
total bliss.
right.
Right. So, and it was wonderful this weekend to not listen to a news feed and to not know what the latest story was. It was
Right.
really a really nice break from all of that, especially, yeah, after the election this week and all that stuff.
It
It
did. It
was
felt
really,
like a bubble of sanctuary. And
yes,
and I think, of course, as we go through whatever, life that we're living in, whatever's going on around us, that's the opportunity for us to know that we don't have to seek anymore, and we can create that bubble of sanctuary around us. Actually, it is automatically created until we, go into judgment and assessment and all that stuff that kind of wakes us, well, puts us in that separate mode. So the return, and that's why the yoga practice is so beautiful, it returns us to that sanctuary bubble and allows us to resume the understanding that we know we are what we already are, what we seek.
absolutely.
One of the things that Rod talked about, and I thought was so really beautiful, and he started off the workshop with this. He said, you know, be your own guru. You are your own
Mm-hmm.
guru. And, in the yoga tradition, there is a lot of gurus, which are teachers and they're wise ones and they have so much to impart. And so sometimes people put all their eggs in the guru basket, let's say, that they're the one who knows and I don't. And um, I loved what he said. He said, Guru is that which is nameless and formless and lives in me. It resides in me. And that internal guru is the one that already knows and it's already
Right.
residing in you. And so I thought that was a really beautiful way to put, and it's nameless and formless, which I thought was is really important for people to, it's that energy that sometimes we are looking for something and it's a something nothing, for lack of better words.
Yeah. It's also uh, in the heart. It's, it's
Mm-hmm. A
in your
radiant
heart,
light.
right? In your heart. And science is actually discovering now how much of a connection there is between the heart and the head, how many
Mhm.
little lines of communication come up from your heart into your head. So it's paying attention and being willing to listen to that instead of your head all the time,
Yes.
breaking stuff down and doing your to-do list and managing it, but just really allowing your heart to speak to you. And once you're familiar with that, it becomes easier and easier to do that and to distinguish the difference between
Mm,
your head telling you something and your heart telling you something.
right. Does this feel like a Willow moment?
Right, right.
Does
Perfect.
this feel
Yeah,
like a dance with Willow moment? Yeah,
right. Right. Or is it yeah, or is this my to-do list and you
right. I'm
gotta do
judging.
this
Why am
kind
I
of thing.
dancing to
Right.
Paul McCartney?
Right. When there's stuff to do,
Right,
right.
exactly. When you were talking about that, there's that whole body of work that's being done, and we've talked about it a little bit, but around the heart intelligence, and it's actually the
Mm-hmm.
heart that was originally and can tell the mind what to do. It informs. So I have this heart urge, like how do I make Willow, how do I help Willow feel the excitement of her doorbell? The head goes, oh, I'll bring up Paul McCartney. That's how it works in concert. The heart has this urge, like, make Willow happy. Head, I remember Paul McCartney. That's when it's that nice synchronous. It's when the head is helping and executing on the heart's desires.
Right, because that memory is there of that music. I'm finding more often that when I listen to my heart, musical stuff comes up,
Mm,
songs
mhm,
that I
mhm, mhm,
remember.
mhm.
I think because that's always been such a big part of music, has always been such a big part of my life. Um, yeah, so I find that kind of fascinating too, that being open to those suggestions, it's like, oh yeah, there's a song
Yeah,
about
right.
that.
And it's usually in the heart key, the F or
Mm,
around, so it's that resonance where your heart is, and that's why classical music is so beautiful because many times it awakens and lives in the heart chakra. And that's why
right,
we
and
om and
Beatles
chant.
music,
Yeah, right.
right?
Yes, totally Beatles music. Yes, absolutely. I was thinking about the Abundance Center when I first created the Abundance Center and I was trying to create a logo. The heart, just kept coming up. And I remember I picked the Abundance Center because I actually had a physical space where we did classes and things. But then
Mhm.
Ginny Sully, remember, she said, oh, but that's the abundance center is your heart. And when she said it like that, it just hit me bang. Oh, of course. That is our abundance center. The heart center is the place of all that, where all that joy and fun and play, wants to cultivate from. And, when we live a very heady world, heady life, and that's where we're going back to or what I think this seeking place sets us back into our heart center, and then we know and we can be at peace and settle down and feel comfortable and confident. It just feels like a
And
different place.
yes, it's more present. It's more present moment that they're right. There isn't a scratching that has to happen or right. And then we begin to discover how many wonderful things are just all around us that are present that we don't see because we're so busy working out what we
Right.
need to do. We had a discussion with our dear friend Catherine Carr yesterday about hummingbirds and
Mm-hmm.
how she has all these plants that to attract hummingbirds, but she wasn't seeing any. And so
Hmm.
she went outside and said a prayer. And sure enough, a hummingbird showed up for her just
Right.
at that time. Right. So we often have all these beautiful things around us that we don't see because we're not in the present moment. We're working out what we're going to do. We're mad at ourselves for what we didn't do or
Right.
all
All
that
up there,
stuff.
all that mind.
All
Yep,
that
yep,
stuff.
yep,
Right.
yep, yep, yep. It's like, thank you, but quiet.
Right.
Um, so I hope everybody's feeling the energy, that we're talking about here, because I can hear people go, oh, right, that can't be true, that I already am what I'm seeking. There's so much to learn and do, and I totally respect that. But that wise inner knower that resides in your whole essence, that is you, that is the everything, uh, is already always been there and it will always be there once, that was another beautiful message this weekend. There's all kinds of change going on. That's, of course, what we do as when we come to Earth. But there's a something that holds the Earth change, and that's a constant. It's a constant, never, always kind of a energy that feels like nothing and feels like everything at the same time.
Right. And the another example that he used was just look at nature.
Right.
If you don't, if talking about God or source isn't a um, strong thing for you, a strong connection you have, look at nature. It's constant
Right. And
and
it
it's
knows what
there
to
and
do,
it's
right?
changing.
It's
It
just
knows
doing
what to do,
it.
right? And yeah. And I always think of that in the spring because I'm always stuck in the winter and so tired of it. And then all of a sudden, flowers start to come up, and it's like,
Right.
how do they know, right?
Right.
Because I'm
Right.
still stuck in my head still that it's winter and where's my coat.
Yes.
But
Yes.
there's the daffodils. They know, they just start popping up. And
Right.
the robins start having babies. And for where I live, the ducks appear because they're going to start a nest. And
Right.
yeah,
And the
look
sun
at
keeps coming up and we
us.
don't have to
Right,
organize it or,
right,
hey, what are you
right.
doing?
Yeah, so look at nature if you want to be reminded of how perfect everything is.
Right. And that perfection of everything happening is really what I think can help us really settle down and be more present and stop trying to manage that which we really don't even need to manage and is all unfolding in a magical, beautiful way. Even with all this change that's going to happen for the country, I do feel that somehow it's for the best for all of us. And I'm going to trust that. I'm going to lean into that, that the wisdom of the all is what makes the United States, our the greatest gift of democracy is the wisdom of the whole is probably wiser than any one individual piece. And I'm going to lean into that.
Beautiful. I'm going to share again, and I know I did this on one of our earlier discussions, but it's called the Santosha Sutra,
Mm.
and it's a 6.5 step program to sanity. And
Mhm.
it's number
Okay.
one is find a warm, dry place to sleep and sleep there. Step number two, find an adequate amount of tasty, wholesome food to eat and eat it. Step number three, find fulfilling, useful work to do and do it. Find absorbing passions to pursue and pursue them with totality. Step four, find friends and family to love and who love you and love them and let them love you. Step five, find the silence of the universe thundering within you and listen to it. Step six, realize that everything else is a distraction. Have fun or fear doing other activities, but don't confuse distractions with the focus core. And step 6.5, watch the mind forget step six and become totally absorbed with distractions and return to step one.
Yeah. Brilliant. That is it in a nutshell. Okay, well, I think we can
Right.
end on that one. Succinct
Perfect.
and to the point. All the blah, blah, blah. Yeah, just do those six things.
Right. And as soon as you forget that you already what you're seeking, go back and start over
Right.
again. Right.
Right. Become present and enjoy. Thanks everyone for being here. Lots of love. So much love
Lots
for
of
you
love.
all. Yeah. Namaste.
Okay. Namaste. Thank you.
Bye.
Swaha.
Bye.